Hello everyone, welcome back to another weather video. Today we'll be taking a look across the country as a whole new pattern starts to shape up. As we all know, we had a trough out in the west, which has been causing a parade of storms to come into the western coast of America. Now, it looks like that trough is going to be displaced out towards the east and be replaced with a ridge out west, and the trough, like I just said, is going to be moving into the east, causing cold air to come down from Canada, potentially even Arctic air as time goes on, and our subtropical jet that brings in our moisture into the country is going to become very active. Now, when you have a subtropical jet active and cold air laying around, this is significant signs of storms coming our way, and it looks exactly like that will happen for the eastern two-thirds of the country. On our screen now is all of our watches and warnings and advisories set up for the country. I'll start in the northeast. As you can see here, we have two shades of colors up here. We have a purple color and a dark blue color. The dark blue color is a winter storm watch where we could see upwards of 6 inches or more of snow. That includes southern and central parts of New Hampshire and southern Maine. And advisories is up to 1 to 4 inches of snow. That includes northern PA, New York, northern parts of Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Vermont. If you want to take a look in the Midwest here, we have a winter storm going to be affecting the Midwest portions of the country here. Again, in our purple is our winter storm advisories, and in this pink right here is winter storm warnings, where we are going to see 6+ inches of snow that stretches all the way back into Colorado, into the UP and Michigan. And down in Texas here, we have a red flag warning, where there's a chance of seeing fires across the country. And by the Mississippi River line back by Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee, we have a tornado watch and flash flood watch in that area. And out west in the mountainous terrain of California, Nevada, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and a little bit of Colorado, Utah, and Arizona is on winter storm advisories. In the higher elevations of California in the mountains, we have a winter storm warning. This is WPC's 3 to 7 day hazard outlook, and as you can see here, if we take a look into the Northeast, we do have a heavy precipitation chance and heavy snow chance, believe it or not. I know it's been a while since we had a snowstorm across the country, but in this turquoise color, we have a little heavy precipitation chance that stretched from Northeast PA, Central New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and this darker color of blue here, we also have a heavy snow chance that stretches all the way from northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And the dark green here in the southeastern part of the country that stretches all the way from most eastern part of Texas into southernmost portions of North Carolina and into Florida is a heavy rain threat for January 21st. And these two snow and heavy precipitation events are for the 22nd of January. In the higher elevations of Montana, Idaho, and Washington, we have a heavy snow threat for January 21st. And into the most southern portions of Alaska and Canada, western portions of Canada, we have a heavy precipitation event stretching from the 22nd to the 25th of January. On your screen here is the GFS model. This is the storm that I was talking about before that has caused all these watches and advisories and warnings to set up across portions of the Great Plains and Midwest. As we go on here, we can see a low pressure develops on the border of Missouri and Iowa, and then takes a track into the Michigan-Ohio region. But notice how the low pressure jumps from that all the way off to eastern coast, right by Long Island, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. This is due to a block up north that's going to make it not going to be able to track right through Canada and has to throw its energy offshore to make a new low pressure system. This causes most northeastern parts of New England to get into a significant snow event here, like where our watches were. I'll show you one more time. In New Hampshire and southeast Maine, that is where our highest snow totals are going to be. If you want to take a close up, if we want to take a close up into the northern states and show snow totals, at least according to the GFS, where our warnings are, which is pretty much right in this area. This is where our 6 plus snowfall is going to be. It's not exactly 6 plus in some of the areas I highlighted, like in portions of UP, Michigan, and a little bit of Michigan itself. But in this region that I highlighted, it's probably going to be where the highest totals are. And if we want to switch over quickly to the Northeast, this is where our totals are going to be highest as well. In the mountains of New York, just north of Albany, into northwestern Connecticut, central New Hampshire and Vermont, and let's say southwestern parts of Maine is going to see the heaviest snow totals from that. Now, we do have another snow chance as well as we get closer to Monday, January 23rd, which is what these are for, 22nd, 23rd, these hazards. You can see the GFS does have a storm. All the models have a storm. At least this run of the 18Z has it just south of Albany, the low location. If we want to take a look at the Canadian, it's also similar in that area. The European takes a track over Long Island into just right over Boston, I believe. An Icon, if you want to believe it, has the offshore track of more like this. If you want to take a look at the 12Z run of the Icon, that was very fun to look at if you're a coastal person that wants snow. You can see it's very, I'll zoom in a little bit. It's strong compared to the last run. It is. It's a little bit more south than the last run, but due to it being stronger on the last run, it was able to bring in more cold air, bringing the raining snow line all the way down to Long Island, giving Long Island snow. If that were to occur, and this exact track happens, yes, we could see some heavy snow in the coastal part of the Northeast. But if a track like this happens, which is also good, but if it's weaker, we will not be able to bring as much cold air into this system. And if I don't know why it went like that, but if we want to take a look at snow totals from this storm, according to the GFS, we could see it brings mostly interior regions of the Northeast heavy snow. It could range from 3 inches all the way up to a foot plus in higher elevations if the GFS is correct. If we want to take a look at the Canadian here, we can see it's a little bit more southeast with the snow totals and brings a little bit more of the heavy snow into the United States more than into Canada. You can see just north of Albany, Albany might be right on the line here of getting 6 inches or 3 inches. And if we want to take a look at the icon, I do not believe it has, yeah, it doesn't have as much, but the icon always likes to lowball the snow totals. But you can see this is where the snow line is for the icon. This is where it is for the Canadian. So the Canadian is definitely more robust with this. And then the GFS is at least 50 miles inland with that snow line, according to the second storm. Now, there's a chance at a third storm after this, which again, all the models do have it. Again, a similar track, but it will have more cold air to work with. Last on the GFS, it's been bouncing around with the storm track, which is as expected as it is a week out from today. That's the GFS. This is the Canadian. And if you want to believe the European, which had a very good track if you're a coastal lover, I'll pull it up in a moment, but I just want to show you the rain and snow line is right here, just for example, and it does have a lot more cold air to work with. So I believe if the European is correct, we would definitely have a much better chance of seeing snow along the coast if it were to be correct. Now, if I want to show snow totals for this storm as well, you can see it is definitely a lot closer to the coast. Our interior region in the Northeast could see a lot of snow out of this, depending on the track. If you want to go to Canadian as well, you can see it actually does bring snow to the coast, at least on this model run. And Icon is not far enough out, at least on the 18Z. But if you want to go to the 12Z, you can see it has a well interior system, which I do not believe at this very moment. But that's what the Icon thinks. Now, if we want to take a quick look at the European, this is the storm. I'll zoom in a little bit for the Northeast here. This is the storm that's going to be happening into Friday. You can see rain switches over to snow, and then that storm leaves, and then the storm for Sunday into Monday comes in. You can see it takes a track over Long Island. It does have heavy snow in the interior parts of the country of New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and northeastern parts of PA. And then the third storm, you can see it is already a lot colder. It brings a rain and snow line into Long Island and then goes back over the snow. It takes a track just over Long Island, the eastern end of Montauk. So with that all being said, with all the storms passing by into the Northeast, this is your snow totals for all of them. Obviously, if this were to occur, these portions of the country would do extremely well because you have three storms in a row having all snow pretty much, and that's why the European gives 30 plus snow amounts. Again, this is three storms altogether, not one, not two, three storms altogether. Mostly this part of the country though is that one storm at the end, which brings our heavy totals overall. Finally, if we want to take a look at the samples real quick on what they think, this is the first storm. There's very good agreement with this that it's going to be going into Michigan, redevelop off the coast of the off the East Coast, and then go out to sea. Our second storm, which has been trending a little bit more southeast, but as it does, it's also been trending a little bit weaker. You can see as we move on, it pretty much took a little bit shift southeast compared to the last run. And the third storm, at least for the GFS samples, it could be anywhere from central PA all the way out to 40 70 on the benchmark. The third storm is a little bit farther out, so I can understand why the models are struggling at this time with that one. And if we want to take a look at the European mean real quick, just move this out of the way. First storm, our second storm, which if you want to believe the European, it takes it right off the coast of Long Island, if not right over it. And then the third storm, again, could be anywhere from apparently Michigan all the way out to Nantucket and Plymouth, Massachusetts. Again, we have a long time to track this, the third one. Second one is a little bit more interesting for almost all the Northeast, depending where you are. And the first one is just a New England special, pretty much. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all stay safe, and I will update you soon.